Imagine, if you will, a towering mountain of $14.9 trillion. That's the staggering amount of personal debt Americans are buried under. It's a number so large, it's difficult to truly comprehend. Yet, what's more alarming is the variety of debt people are shouldering. From student loans that feel like a lifetime sentence, to credit card debt that keeps piling up, mortgages that seem to grow rather than shrink, and auto loans that make the dream of owning a car feel like a nightmare. It's a widespread problem, touching lives from coast to coast across all walks of life. The severity of this issue isn't just about the money owed. It's about the stress, the sleepless nights, the feeling of being trapped under this mountain with no way out. But remember, no matter how towering the debt, there's always a path to freedom. With such a mountainous debt, it's easy to feel trapped and overwhelmed. But don't despair, there's a way out. Meet John, a typical American with a steady job, but drowning in debt. John is a hardworking individual with dreams and ambitions just like you and me. But there's one thing that keeps him awake at night: his mounting debts. He juggles between his student loans from his college days, the credit card bills from his impulsive shopping sprees, and the auto loan for the car he thought he could afford. Every month, John is caught in a whirlwind of bills and notices. He's been making his minimum payments, sure, but it's like trying to empty an ocean with a bucket. The principal amount seems to be a menacing mountain that refuses to budge. And let's not even get started on the interest. It's like a monster that feeds on his hard-earned money, growing bigger and scarier with each passing day. John's situation isn't unique, though. There are millions of Johns out there, stuck in the same rut, struggling to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck, and seeing their dreams slip further away as the debt piles up. They feel the weight of the world on their shoulders, and every day feels like a battle against their financial demons. In fact, John's situation is so common that it's almost considered normal. But that's the thing, isn't it? Just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. It's not normal to live in constant fear of your debts. It's not normal to work your fingers to the bone, only to see your money disappear into the black hole of debt. John, like many of us, feels stuck in this vicious cycle. But what if we told you there's a way to break free? The first step to freedom is always the hardest, but it's also the most crucial. And so, our journey begins. John, like many of us, found himself drowning in a sea of debt. But how did he start swimming back to shore? The answer is simple, yet challenging: budgeting and cutting wasteful spending. Imagine your income as water flowing into a bucket. The water level represents your savings. Now, if there are holes in the bucket, the water level would never rise, would it? The holes represent your expenses. To raise the water level, you need to either increase the inflow or plug the holes. John chose the latter. John started by tracking his spending. He used a simple notebook and pen, jotting down every penny that left his pocket. He didn't change his spending habits at first, he just observed. He began to see patterns, areas where his money seemed to disappear. Takeaway meals, online subscriptions he barely used, impulse buys. They were all small expenses, but they added up. These were his holes, leaking his hard-earned money. Having identified the culprits, John took action. He started cooking more at home, canceling unused subscriptions, and resisting the allure of sales. He started distinguishing between wants and needs. Do you really need that designer shirt, or do you just want it? It was a tough transition, no doubt. But every dollar saved was a dollar closer to freedom. And isn't freedom worth a little sacrifice? But remember, budgeting and cutting back on expenses is not about living miserly. It's about living smart. It's about understanding the value of money and spending it wisely. By taking control of his finances, John began to see a glimmer of hope. But that was just the beginning. The road to financial freedom is long and winding. But with the right tools and mindset, anyone can embark on this journey. So, ask yourself, are you ready to take the first step? Are you ready to plug those holes and watch your savings rise? Because remember, the first step to freedom is always the hardest, but it's also the most crucial. With some extra money in his pocket, John was ready to tackle his debt head-on. But how did he do it? Well, he used a combination of two popular strategies, the debt snowball and debt avalanche methods. Let's start with the snowball method. Picture a snowball rolling down a hill, growing bigger and bigger as it gathers more snow. This method works in a similar way, but instead of snow, it's your small debts you're rolling away. You start by focusing on your smallest debt first, while still making minimum payments on your larger debts. Once that smallest debt is paid off, you take what you were paying on it and apply it to the next smallest debt. As you pay off each debt, your monthly payments become larger, and you start to build momentum, just like a snowball rolling down a hill. But John also used the avalanche method. Picture an avalanche, where a small disturbance can trigger a large and fast-moving flow of snow. In the debt avalanche method, instead of starting with the smallest debt, you start with the debt with the highest interest rate. By tackling high-interest debts first, you can save money over the long run by paying less in interest. John combined these two methods, using the snowball method for his smaller, more manageable debts, and the avalanche method for his larger, high-interest debts. This allowed him to pay off his debts quicker and save money on interest. But this didn't happen overnight. It took patience, perseverance, and a whole lot of discipline. There were times when John wanted to give up, when he felt like the mountain of debt was just too high. But he stayed committed to his plan. John's journey wasn't easy, but he persevered. And slowly but surely, he started chipping away at that mountain of debt. Remember, it's not about how much debt you have, it's about how determined you are to get rid of it. And as John's story shows, with a solid plan and a bit of determination, you can conquer your debt too. Fast forward a few years, and John is now debt-free. It's not just the absence of constant worry or the relief from the shackles of financial obligations. It's much more profound than that. It's like a breath of fresh air, a sense of liberation that's hard to put into words. Imagine waking up each day knowing that you're working for your dreams, not your debts. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing that your hard-earned money is going towards building your future, not paying off the past. John's life took a turn for the better. He experienced financial freedom, an empowering journey that opened up a world of possibilities. He started investing, exploring new interests, and most importantly, he started living life on his own terms. John's story is not unique. It could be your story too. So tell us, are you ready to conquer your own mountain? Check out my next video that YouTube suggests, and I'll see you on the other side.